Yeah, you got any drinker's blood?
I know you are joking. You will not dilute your blood before a session.
Yeah, I know, you're right. I just don't know who I'm meeting tonight. Is it gonna be Dr. Drayne or that Lord Luridus fella?
You only met a single individual last time, and you will meet only a single individual this time. Do not let Dr. Drayne's avoidance of accountability confuse you.
You saw the guy, though. Lord Luridus ain't nothing like Dr. Drayne.
And why do you think that is, Samuel?
Well, maybe it's easier for Dr. Drayne to blame Lord Luridus.
Correct, Samuel. A mild change in personality would be within Dr. Drayne's control. Luridus is not, and therefore, Dr. Drayne relinquishes control. Prepare yourself, my friend. Let us find the darkness that lives within Dr. Drayne.
All right, I think I'm as ready as I'll ever be.
Do not fear, Samuel. I shall not let Dr. Drayne hurt you, no matter what he is calling himself. Do what you do best.
I will, I promise. And here he comes, whoever he is today. Doc?
Somewhat taciturn today, then. Well, don't be upset with me. I did warn you about that beast. At least now you recognize the urgency in being rid of him. Perhaps now we can stop beating about the bush and actually fix my addiction problem.
I'm here to help, but if we're gonna lick this thing, we gotta do it honestly, and that means getting to the root of the problem.
I tire of this self-examination process. There must be something efficacious that I can do. Perhaps some sort of aversion therapy. I am willing to do whatever it takes to make that villain just go away.
Then you gotta be willing to address the big old elephant in the room.
And what is that?
You and Lord Luridus ain't two different people. You keep talking about him like he's someone else, but you both got the same brain in there.
Complete and utter nonsense. You've met him. We share absolutely nothing in common. And what's more, I am fully aware that he hates me. Take a look at this note he left on my desk.
That's supposed to be you there with the micropenis?
Indeed. Juvenile humor, to be sure. Certainly nothing I would produce.
Ain't he got the same penis, though?
Quite so. I have no doubt he does the most terrible things with it.
So somehow he's got a different brain than you do, but the same penis. Something ain't adding up here, Doc.
I resent what you are suggesting. I have no effect on what Lord Luridus does.
Dr. Drayne seems to assign himself no responsibility at all for the actions of Lord Luridus. Is this fair?
I resent what you are suggesting. I have no effect on what Lord Luridus does.
I know you're a pretty responsible fellow, but you're giving Lord Luridus more credit than he deserves.
What on earth are you talking about?
You know that old stereotype mortals like to spread about us where we can't go into a place until we're invited?
A ludicrous idea with no basis in scientific truth.
Ain't you giving Lord Luridus your permission to come in and do what he does when you take that plasma stuff?
I didn't invite him in the first time. I had no idea what I had created. That his presence would become an addiction was not known to me.
Dr. Drayne, you're a scientist. Your stock and trade is in facts, ain't it? Let's leave thought out of this for now. You gotta be my scientist here and stick to what we know.
Very well. Yes. The genesis of Lord Luridus was in the actions and choices I took. Are you quite satisfied?
Doc, we ain't here for my satisfaction. Do you really think that?
Well, the fact that I am upset right now certainly lends credence to the idea that you are trying to shame me.
I won't lie to you, Doc. The people that Lord Luridus has hurt probably would have a bone to pick with you. But I ain't here to punish nobody. That ain't the way to help you. In this room, we're working together. You're doing the hard work, and I'm just giving you support. Catch my drift, partner?
And so you do me even greater shame through kindness. I cannot win. Perhaps I should simply let that beast, Lord Luridus, have his way with me.
Come on now, Doc. You're jumping right to doom there. There are so many ways this therapy thing could go for you. It ain't we destroy Lord Luridus or Lord Luridus wins. Jumping right to catastrophe just ain't realistic. Already you're fighting him by being here. That means there's definitely something in the middle. And working together, we'll make things better. Maybe not completely better. This work ain't never done.
Of course, I am forgetting myself. I'm not usually prone to extremes. I shall attempt to be more mindful.
I ain't expecting you to be perfect, Doc. And I don't want you to expect perfection from yourself either. What I'm asking you for is self-compassion. That ain't erasing blame. It's just approaching yourself from a place of understanding. That's a scientific method, ain't it?
I doubt many in the scientific community would agree with such a statement, but I believe I understand the thrust of it. We cannot address facts if we mask them in emotionality.
That's exactly it, Doc. I couldn't have said it better myself.
Indeed. Thus my attempt to synthesize the thought properly.
Well, thank the dark powers that made us. Someone in here's the smart one.
Very well. We shall take a strategic, scientifically sound approach. We will agree upon facts, develop hypotheses, test and validate. If I rely on the science, I will never be wrong.
Dr. Drayne is so certain that science will be his savior. What if it is not?
If I rely on the science, I will never be wrong.
Whoa there, Doc. That's some real Nosferatu thinking. If you're going to be so dogmatic about science, what's the difference between it and religion?
I am not being dogmatic. Scientific theory is designed to be challenged.
Are you open to be challenged then? Don't be so sure there's only one path forward. Your answers might be in how you feel rather than in data and formulas.
I suppose. Feelings are contextual hormonal clues in any event. I'll try to be mindful of them.
Well, sounds good to me, compadre. Let's start assembling them facts. Can I ask you some questions then?
You may. Let us begin.
All right, so you told me that the thing that makes your plasma addicting is how good it makes you feel when you wake up from it. From your scientific perspective, what makes it feel good?
From a chemical perspective, good feelings, or positive emotions, are the result of neurotransmitter action. Considering the specific emotions felt in the immediate moment are contentment and satisfaction, it is certain that I am experiencing an oxytocin and dopamine release. It is a primal limbic response. In laboratory settings, we observe a constant drive in animals towards stimulating the release of amygdala-receptive neurotransmitters.
I think you're going to need to boil that down for me, Doc.
I did not come here to teach, but so be it. Ask your questions.
What's the limbic system do?
The limbic system functions as the emotional center of the brain, responsible for emotional responses such as joy, fear, and anger.
So it's like the part of my brain deciding if I should be scared of a rattlesnake or happy about a belly full of blood?
Precisely. It plays a crucial role in forming memories and making decisions based on emotional experiences. Often called the lizard brain, it's evolutionarily one of the older parts of the brain, indicating its fundamental role in regulating survival instincts.
I've been called lizard brain before, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't a compliment. What's this about neurotransmitters?
Neurotransmitters are chemical messengers that neurons use to communicate with each other. For example, social bonding reliably triggers a release of oxytocin, creating a sense of security and attachment.
So if I'm reading you right, when I'm feeling all snug after a good feed, is them oxytocin neurotransmitters doing their thing?
Exactly. This process is an integral part of our brain's reward system, encouraging behaviors that are perceived as beneficial for our survival and well-being.
So survival feels good, basically.
Yes, though I would not publish such a statement in an academic paper.
So what's all this stuff really mean in the end, Doc? Why's this neurotransmitter stuff even matter?
An intriguing question. Naturally, emotion does not have a practical evolutionary application on its own. However, these emotions signal to the reptilian brain whether or not we are under threat.
Oh, well, dang, now I think we're getting somewhere. I think the answer's right in front of us.
Oh? And what is it that your rooting, tooting brain can synthesize that mine cannot?
You don't feel safe on your own. Taking that plasma forces you to get that neurotransmitter hit.
An intriguing theory. However, evidence stands against it. Like it or not, I am a vampire. The only thing that may threaten me is the sun or a more powerful vampire. I should not be experiencing feelings of mortal danger. I am not immortal. Logically, I should know such a thing is ridiculous.
There's them should statements again, Doc. It doesn't matter what logic says. You still got that part of your brain that says it's in danger, and that part doesn't care about logic.
An astute point, and an inconvenient one. That we should be saddled with such vestigial, primal concerns is most unfortunate.
Can't avoid the fact that we still got them human concerns. At least we don't gotta poop, huh?
Oh dear, and you are doing so well. At least I have nothing to fear from you.
It's true, though. We're still animals, partner. We gotta satisfy the animal. Just not through pooping.
But we are immortal. Why do we have animal needs, fears, and emotions? What possible use do they have?
Poor Dr. Drayne is diminishing the entire human, or rather animal, experience in his pursuit of logical outcomes. Quite dogmatic for a scientist.
But we are immortal. Why do we have animal needs, fears, and emotions? What possible use do they have?
Poor Dr. Drayne is diminishing the entire human, or rather animal, experience in his pursuit of logical outcomes. Quite dogmatic for a scientist.
But we are immortal. Why do we have animal needs, fears, and emotions? What possible use do they have?
Sometimes, Doc, you are just too smart for your own good. You're logicking away all the good things about being human. I mean, let's say we freed ourselves from those biological concerns. Got rid of all them fears and insecurities and quirks. Why are we doing anything then? I don't know about you, Doc, but I don't want to turn into a computer. All them great discoveries and works of art came from our humanity.
Perhaps it is so. Do you know, I met Isaac Newton several times. The young fellow was motivated indeed, but it was his human vindictiveness that made him so effective. All those motherfuckers who called me a nerd are going to pay, mark my words, he would say. Or something along those lines.
So, he was making sure none of those motherfuckers could hurt him.
That was certainly part of it. It was not just a love of science that drove the man. It is such a disappointing notion, however, to think that we cannot transcend our reptilian brain, even when we are beyond death.
We're dealing in facts, though, and I think what we're coming to is that your reptilian brain doesn't feel safe.
Which is absolutely ridiculous, but I must admit that it is somehow true. What a devastating revelation. Dr. Drayne, for all his scientific achievement, is just an emotional little laboratory rat who bases all his decisions in fear.
Man, you just jump right to that extreme. You're probably the smartest fella I ever met, Doc. You ain't a science god, but who is? I think there's a lot of room between being a lab rat and being the perfect logical being.
You are, of course, correct. I am letting my emotions get the better of me. Most unscientific.
Doc, I want to go back to one of them things I was telling you about in our first session, and that's self-compassion. Let's say you had some vampire apprentice, a scientist like you, who didn't know nothing like what you know, and said they were down on themselves for all the reasons you are. What would you say to them?
Well, I would explain that progress is non-linear. The scientific method, in fact, celebrates failure. That which does not conform to theory still informs theory.
Any chance you could put the scientist away and talk to their human side?
Well, I suppose I would say that it is fine, that all things are temporary, and the universe does not care to condemn them.
So how can we get you to say them things to yourself, Doc?
My situation is not the same. I was trained in the age of discovery. I bear the responsibility for that age. But if this project of mine, to create the blood that will sustain the world, is not what I am here for, then what is my purpose?
Well, let me ask you, what's the purpose of a gopher?
Rodentia, Geomedae. Rodents endemic to North America, known for their tunneling ability and as agricultural pests. I believe they are the prey of owls, snakes, and coyotes, and are omnivorous themselves, consuming vegetables, insects, and small mammals.
I wasn't expecting you to be so thorough. I don't think I knew half that stuff.
I have come to learn nearly everything there is to know about mammalian biology as a result of my research. Please get to the point.
I think I forgot what it was now.
That is not encouraging.
Hold on a sec, I think I've got it. Gophers have a purpose. Driving people crazy, that's what. Used to wreak havoc on the farmland back in Missouri.
Absolutely ridiculous. That is not their purpose. It's an ill-informed anthropocentric philosophy defined and subscribed to entirely by said anthropocentrists.
I didn't know bugs could do that.
Anthropocentrists, not arthropods. Humans. Homo sapiens. I am saying that you have created a purpose for the gopher that the gopher is entirely unaware of.
So, who made your purpose, Dr. Drayne?
What? Well, I did, I suppose.
So if you made it, you can change it, right?
But how can I change my purpose? I have always been a scientist. So that's what I am.
Dr. Drayne appears to see himself only as a scientist. I fear this is an overly simplistic interpretation of himself.
But how can I change my purpose? I have always been a scientist. So that's what I am.
Dr. Drayne appears to see himself only as a scientist. I fear this is an overly simplistic interpretation of himself.
But how can I change my purpose? I have always been a scientist. So that's what I am.
Science is just what you do, compadre. That's one of them anthropocentric philosophies you mentioned. You're overgeneralizing about yourself. Dr. Drayne's in there, and he's more than the things he knows are his job title.
That's the problem. I'm not sure that he is.
All right, well, let's take that scientific approach and try to figure out who the man behind the scientist is.
Very well. If we look at the behavior of our subject, myself, we can infer a few things. If we examine my behavior, one can draw a comparison to a threatened higher-thinking mammal. I spend much time in ensuring personal safety and security.
What about your more peaceful moments? What do they look like?
I believe these feelings are only medically induced through my special plasma. However, Dr. Drayne appears to be at rest when he is full and satisfied.
And your synthetic blood doesn't do that for you?
I am forced to admit that at present, it does not.
Dr. Drayne, what do you think of drinking something a little more fresh and human?
I will not. I do not have to. That depraved vampire, Lord Luridus, is the source of all that is base and vulgar about my person.
Doc, you're blaming Lord Luridus for something common to all vampires, including yourself. We need blood. That's just how it is. Ain't Lord Luridus's fault. Now, I know you ain't comfortable with that need, but you can't offload everything you ain't happy with onto Lord Luridus. That just makes him worse.
You have not been listening to me at all if you believe I have absolved myself of all vampiric frailty.
I didn't say that. I'm saying you're distancing yourself from your needs by saying they're Lord Luridus's needs. Well, what if you indulged Lord Luridus once in a while? Maybe you could keep him from coming out.
Do you not understand what I have been working toward for the last 400 years? I will finally be able to transcend this thing that I am. I shall be a parasite no more.
Come on, Dr. Drayne. You're a scientist. You know mankind ain't got that kind of control over nature. Ain't you ever seen that movie where they bring back the dinosaurs?
That film was scientific drivel. Its simplistic understanding of DNA should have alienated its audience immediately. But then, who can guess with Americans?
It was a good story, though. And in the end, it wasn't a story about DNA. It was a story about controlling nature, which I'm sure you know ain't never worked.
Your argument does not hold weight when your source of truth is a fantasy film.
Dr. Drayne, we really got to talk about some kind of middle path here. Back home, we tried the whole abstinence thing a few times, and it didn't go too well. We tried to stop drinking, and that just made people only do bad drinking. We tried telling teenagers sex was evil, and that just made them want it even more while being ashamed of themselves. What if you just tried to do some of them things Lord Luridus does? Just don't do them the way he does.
I find the idea utterly repellent.
Yeah, but then you go and take that plasma, and Lord Luridus makes the decisions. We don't want that, right?
Fine. Fine. I'll drink some blood. But I warn you, Sam, the price of failure is most dear. If I should lose my humanity, all of humanity will lose.
The entire world will suffer for Dr. Drayne's failure. This is a stark vision for the future that he holds.
But I warn you, Sam, the price of failure is most dear. If I should lose my humanity, all of humanity will lose.
Doc, you really can't be putting the weight of the world on your shoulders. That ain't something you can control, compadre. Now, I know you're a capable fella, but the world is gonna turn with or without you.
You think so? I can't imagine someone with my highly rational mind feeling so strongly if my prediction weren't firmly rooted in fact.
I know it all seems real heavy right now. Just show yourself a little compassion and patience. Beating yourself up over a future that ain't happened yet isn't gonna help you. We need to go back to this thing I brought up before. You're a smart fella, Dr. Drayne, but sometimes you're forgetting vampire commonality. We've all felt like the world was ending or that we're awful monsters, but them feelings are our perceptions alone.
Yes, I'm aware. Perhaps I've been a little too human in my wobbles. However, you forget my training in history. I am not an average vampire. I was trained by the great Professor William Harvey. I have had 4 centuries to unlock the secrets of animal biology. I have a duty to humanity and to my own legacy. A duty I should not fail in. Otherwise, what was it all for?
Dr. Drayne is so certain of what he must do, and he does not consider any other fate. We immortals often become stuck in such thinking, alas.
I have a duty to humanity and to my own legacy. A duty I should not fail in. Otherwise, what was it all for?
Dr. Drayne is so certain of what he must do, and he does not consider any other fate. We immortals often become stuck in such thinking, alas.
I have a duty to humanity and to my own legacy. A duty I should not fail in. Otherwise, what was it all for?
Hold your horses there, amigo. You say you've got a duty to humanity? Well, that ain't scientific at all. It ain't just anthropocentric, it's Dr. Drayne-centric. Nobody said you had to do anything. Remember when we first started talking, I told you about them should statements? That's what you're doing, compadre. Just remember that them shoulds are yours.
Yes, I must be frustrating to you, Sam. I invoke the same delusions over and over again.
Hey, come on, Doc. You should be proud of yourself. You know what the difference is between you and vampires who never improve themselves? You're here. You've made a commitment to getting your head on straight. And you're getting there, my friend. Already you're making some big changes and investing in yourself. I can see it. So let's cut Dr. Drayne a break. How about it, amigo? He doesn't need the weight of the world on him. There's only one thing he should do, and that's have a little understanding and empathy for himself. You get me?
Yes, I get you. Very well. I shall try to keep a clear head. And I will arrange to drink some real blood. There's plenty of it in the lab. I shall just liberate some of it.
Good man. We'll talk about how it's gone next month, all right?
Indeed. Until then, Sam, and thank you for your patience.
I ain't got nothing but time, amigo. You can thank me by being patient with yourself.
All the same, you have my thanks. I shall see you in a few weeks then. Farewell.